What is pitching?
Pitching is selling something, selling an idea, selling a concept. It's being able to communicate the essence of what you're doing and what you want from whoever you're having the conversation with.
And you've said previously that you've got to know your why. How does that factor into pitching?
When you know your why, I think you can connect with other people's why. And I think sometimes having multiple whys is helpful so you can connect with different stakeholders. I love that word so much. But like Burns and Song, my why is from the story, my story why is to explore how secrets can hurt families. My genre why is to use a genre that most people can access and understand to enter a world that they might not have ever been in, right? So if it's horror, thriller, people understand horror, but they're going to be experiencing a world and a culture that they might not be familiar with. So that's why I'm doing horror, thriller, psychological thriller horror. The commercial why, you know what I mean? So I think it just helps you then connect with people. The commercial why is the more stories like this that are told, we then are able to prove that stories like this are commercially viable and we can make more. So yeah, I think it allows you to, on the creating side and the executing the project side, to connect with people that can help you do that, but also to know why an audience should even watch it, right? So like the thing about like how stories can destroy families, I think audience members will understand what that is. Even if they don't necessarily watch horror or know much about Zimbabwe, they understand that concept.
You just triggered a memory. Last night we had a comment come in and part of it reads, I think one of the hardest things creatives have to deal with is an audience owes you nothing. You are entitled to quote your creation, but that does not mean you're entitled to people paying to see it. Developing a thick skin is important for life in general. So just thought that was interesting. We're talking about audience and we know our why, but do we think our audience, they may not get our why. How do you feel about that?
I think that's true. And I think this is the art of filmmaking, is because we're so inundated with so much content, it's knowing how to bring them in and to invite them into a conversation that might not ordinarily be a part of, right? I recently watched Baby Reindeer. That is my aspiration. I want to make, that is my, like, if I can write like that and make films like that is incredibly powerful. And he just hooked us. I don't know how you liked it or audiences liked it, but he hooked me. If I'd read the premise, I might have gone, nah. But the filmmaking, he got me in and he got me invested. So I think it's our job as creative people to use our art to invite people into our process. But it's true, people are not obligated to engage with your material, but hopefully there'll be some that do.
And Baby Reindeer is based on a true story?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, please watch. It's incredible, incredibly acted, incredibly written, it's excellent filmmaking, in my opinion.
Right. I kept getting ads upon ads, and I'm like, okay, I have to see this. And then I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah,
so
it's triggering, so just warning.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I typically wouldn't watch it, but it really did give, again, story aside, there's a specific issue that series deals with, that at the end of the series, you're just like more enlightened, and you're like, oh, okay, even if you don't like the content, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to watch it at first. And then when I watched it, I'm like,
it's
I might actually watch it and I might feel triggered, but.
You can skip it.
I think this quote was in a video on your channel, and it is, if you approach every project as a team project, a lot of things become easier because it's not just you pitching the studio, it's you and the studio hoping to work together to develop something.
Big fan of that, where it's like, it takes a village, right, to make anything, right? So if everybody's got skin in the game and they're invested in it, everybody's invested in seeing it be successful. So, content creation is, at least at that scale, is definitely a team sport. And I think the more individual crew members feel valued for what they're bringing to the process, the more that they're willing to give to the process. I'm a big fan of always like, if you build a culture with whatever thing that you're working on where people are advocating for the project even when you're not there, then I think you've got a really solid team. So yeah, teamwork makes the dream work.
Do you know who your audience is?
I think so. I think I definitely think it's I think people that enjoyed stuff like Little Fires Everywhere, Baby Reindeer, maybe, yeah. I think it's folks that enjoy psychological thriller and complexity, and that maybe question the bridge between the supernatural and the psychological. So people that like genre things, that are curious about other cultures and other places. I think folks like that would enjoy the show. I have a dream platform that I would love the show to be on, that I think makes stuff like this and is really successful. You know, if we get our funding and we make it at the production value of these other platforms, yeah, I have thoughts on like, you know, which, because when you're making something, that's what you have to be thinking about. You're going, okay, which platform would this be for? Like if I was pitching to my dream streamer, who would it be? Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, just saying. But probably, I think Netflix. Yeah, I think there's a space for that curiosity, and I say that because of just how other things have performed. You know, like Squid Games, and mine is not Squid Games at all, but it's very, very specific. Like Squid Games is all in Korean, and it's a very specific location, but the themes are pretty confronting and unapologetic and in your face, but it did exceptionally well. Same with Baby Reindeer, did exceptionally well, but it's from Britain. So platforms that just bring in global audiences, but with universal stories, yeah, I think would be great for a show like this. But yeah, I think I do have a picture of who the audience would be, for sure.
What are the key things a writer-producer should remember when pitching?
First and foremost, you have to be the most pumped about your idea than anybody. You have to be so excited and believe in it. And I'm not saying like be crazy, yeah, animated, but like you have to have a conviction about the project and really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So be the first believer of it. I think you have to understand who your audience is. So whoever you're pitching to, it's not smart to come into the room when you don't know what Disney is interested in or what kind of stuff is sitting on Apple TV, whatever. So doing your homework and having a sense of what that platform makes and or distributes is very important. The ability to connect with people is also important, and the ability to read a room is vital. And I think understanding production, or like knowing how to put a team together, and fine, as you're pitching, you might not have the whole team worked out, but you need to know, because with pitching, it's not just about the idea. It's like, can you execute the idea, or have you thought about how execution is going to work? So having a picture of like, okay, who's going to be the team that's going to, or the kind of team that's going to help execute this. Yeah, I think things like that are super important.
And so if you read the room and you're like, I'm super pumped, and you read that room and you're like, oh, something's off here. I don't know if this person had a bad day. How do you stay excited about your project in that moment?
Just make that commitment that you'll stay excited about that project in that moment, because one thing I've learned is like, and I've sat in the broadcaster chair when I was in South Africa. I did that job for 5 years. You might have heard 20 pitches that day. You might have gotten news that a show of yours got canceled. Maybe your kid is sick and you just come back from the dentist. Maybe you just had bad lunch. Whatever nasty face you're getting might have nothing to do with your pitch, and actually you could be improving my mood right now. So just commit. Like I say to people, I've said to, I do some teaching sometimes, and I'm like, even if you're an introvert, and again, it's not about being that, it's not at all about that, but it's kind of just care about it enough and know your project super well and be enthusiastic about your project and commit that in that 15 minutes, doesn't matter what you're getting back, show that level of commitment. The reading the room piece could be if you are seeing someone is uncomfortable, be able to adapt. So you might go, is it all right if I continue? Would you like, you know what I mean? So be because sometimes you can just bulldoze your way through, but there's something that's definitely off in the room. Maybe someone's mic isn't working and you haven't asked or whatever. So that's reading the room. Or, am I loud enough? Can you hear me? Are we good? Can I, whatever, you know? So yeah, just being responsive to that kind of thing is important.
Yeah, I like that. Like commit to the pitch.
Just freaking bitch. Because getting those people in that room is not always easy. Like actually getting that meeting probably took you a very long time. So now this is the moment. So use that moment as best as you can. Yeah.
Excellent.
I've
Love
had
it.
terrible pitches, by the way. Very,
yeah, we've heard of other people.
I've
yeah.
had bad pitches.
Yeah.
I have pitched badly.
Oh,
So
I see.
So this is
Okay.
all from learning.
Oh.
Yes.
And is that from just overthinking or
Panic, exactly what you're saying. Like, it's like, ooh, everybody looks grumpy. Then I get in my head, and I've had a few, and if I pitch to people that I really respect as well, because especially when I know what kind of notes they give, I can get in my head a lot with that. But just practicing to just commit.
Right. And don't do the thing where you see everyone in their underwear. It doesn't work.
Maybe for some people it does. I think what helps me is preparation. Honestly speaking, like I think something happens where I just get into this mode where because I'm ready, even if a thing technologically breaks or doesn't work, because I'm ready, I'm adaptable. If every time I've not reread a pitch just before a meeting, that's usually when it goes a little bit off, because now I'm trying to remember consciously versus just being in the moment. So some people need that, like imagine people in the underwear. Some people just need practice, like me. I'm a rehearsed person.
Sure. So planning can quell anxiety, doesn't get rid of it.
I live by that. I do. And sometimes you don't have the opportunity, but like, and maybe that's when the imagining everyone in their underwear helps, when you haven't had a lot of time. But I don't know, planning helps me.